within their circle of competence, however narrow that might be. Warren Buffett said, "What counts for most people in investing is not how much they know, but rather how realistically they define what they don't know." I hope you enjoy listening to this as much as I enjoyed writing it. Michael Batnick. Chapter 1. Benjamin Graham. There are no ironclad laws. In my nearly 50 years of experience in Wall Street, I've found that I know less and less about what the stock market is going to do, but I know more and more about what investors ought to do. And that's a pretty vital change in attitude. Benjamin Graham. In 200 years, nobody will remember Bill Ackman's crusade against Herbalife. John Paulson's bet against the housing bubble will be long forgotten. Charlie's Mungerisms will be relegated to the dustbin of the 21st century. Great investors come and go, and most of the ones featured in this book will be lost on future generations. But if I had to put my money on one name that will stand the test of time, it's Benjamin Graham. The Dean of Wall Street, as he was known, will be remembered forever because his teachings are timeless. The lessons he provided in his seminal work, Security Analysis, are just as relevant today as they were in 1934 and will be 200 years hence. The passage of time won't change human nature or the fact that, in applying analysis to the field of securities, we encounter the serious obstacle that investment is by nature not an exact science. As gifted as Graham was in mathematics, he understood that the laws of physics do not govern security analysis. It's difficult to overstate how many trails he blazed. Jason Zweig wrote, "Before Graham, money managers behaved much like a medieval guild, guided largely by superstition, guesswork, and arcane rituals. Ben Graham is to investing what the Wright brothers are to flight, and just as their names will be forever linked to the airplane, so will Graham's to finance." Graham understood what few did at the time, that the stock prices quoted in the newspaper and the underlying value in the business are not equivalent. Sticking with the Wright brothers, Graham wrote, "In the Wright aeronautical example, the earlier situation presented a set of facts which demonstrated that the business was worth substantially more than $8 per share. In the later year, the facts were equally conclusive that the business did not have a reasonable value of $280 per share. It would have been difficult for the analyst to determine whether Wright Aeronautical was actually worth $20 or $40 a share, or actually worth $50 or $80. But fortunately, it was not necessary to decide these points in order to conclude that the shares were attractive at $8 and unattractive intrinsically at $280. Security Analysis was written for the Wall Street professional. However, it's the intelligent investor that will keep Graham's name alive forever. This is the first financial book that I ever read, and it left such a strong impression that I chose it as the namesake for my blog, The Irrelevant Investor. Unlike Security Analysis, The Intelligent Investor was intended for laymen, and with more than 1 million copies sold, it reached its target. Warren Buffett said, "I read the first edition of this book early in 1950 when I was 19. I thought then that it was by far the best book about investing ever written. I still think it is." As long as people want to learn about investing, they will find Graham, who translated an exotic language with terms like net working capital and return on equity into